just hearing that story in everything that you said about the food and all that, because it's fun, right? And going to a new place and trying out new things. But when you were going on a mission trip and then also being that responsible, you know, and it's not all fun, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go pray for people and I'm gonna bring a lot of testimonies. It's like, how safe, like, did you feel safe being there and the food and...
No, we had probiotics, we had vitamins. I mean, because that was already my second trip, so I packed a full case of probiotics, of vitamins, of antibiotics as well. Everything you can think of, and then also, like, you know, tuna, crackers, there's like a couple little things that you can just snack on, just in case also, because especially during mission trips, I mean, you guys know, you never know when you come back, you know, you never know if you're gonna actually
and it's not
lunch.
Because of them, their immune system is stronger than ours.
It's
because of us.
It's us, you know, so you know, you kind of prep for every mission trip a little bit for that.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So I kind of want to ask you guys, as well as another question that I had here. Tell us a little bit about what impacted you the most on this trip. So I know that usually on these trips it's jam-packed with like a full itinerary, it's back-to-back this, that. You have some downtime, but obviously there's more ministry than anything else, and there's setting up and there's tearing down and you have to run around and be everywhere at the same time, and like you're stretched thin. But obviously there are moments on these trips where you're just like blown away at maybe a miracle, a testimony, something that happened. So share a little bit about that with us.
So I'm pretty sure you guys are going to ask us like what we do. So it kind of ties into this question because when I travel, I always travel doing testimonies. So I help document, I help record, I help interview, I help bring the miracle from like out in left field all the way to the altar, you know. And I think even though there were so many miracles, and even though, you know, I can name you some crazy stuff that happened. You know, I've seen tumors fall off. I've seen crazy stuff. You know, I've seen deliverance like in ways that you cannot imagine, like at all. And I'm not talking about deliverance with just adults. I mean, you see children getting delivered, and it's because there's such an atmosphere of just, you know, oppression and poverty and witchcraft. Like, it's just a lot, you know, and. But even though all of that was like crazy impacting in its own, like I think the one thing that just gets me every single time that I've even thought of Ethiopia is the fact that even the preacher can't preach for too long. Like, they have to have like 15-minute segments of preaching, and then they have to break into praise. Because they all they want to do is praise. Like, it's not even just worship. It's not even just like preaching. They want to praise God. And that to me left me just like with my mouth just dropped, because and they're, you know, I mean, in the church that we went to, in Apostle Tamarat's church, which is the one that invited us over there, you know, his church doesn't have, it's just like a big building, right? But inside there's, you know, it's dirt, like it's not what we're used to as a church, you know? And a lot of these people, they live in like little tin houses, like, you know, they live like really, really poor, you know, and like where they can have a reason to complain and they can have a reason to be mad at God, you know? And they just want to praise, like they're just so happy. Like they're so happy. And I'll never forget that I was there and I just started seeing them praise so much, and I just broke into tears. Like I broke, because I was like, man, God, like they're so grateful even with just this, you know, that for me it's like, okay, cool, but you know, we have a huge church, or we have this, or we go to all these other places, you know, and or we have a house or whatever. And I just see that, and to me they didn't need a miracle, you know, even though they were looking for one. You know, they didn't need a crazy preaching, even though they needed one. You know, they didn't, you know, they could have been there for 1,000,001 reasons, you know, and they were just so grateful. And that to me was just the craziest thing.
I like what you said, that they were looking for a miracle, but they didn't wait for the miracle to happen for them to praise. They were already praising.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. And it's awesome that I give importance to that, because here in our culture, right, our corner of the world, it's like 20-minute worship session and then like a long preaching. So that's a lot how a lot of churches are. Very different. We don't give, not that we don't give importance to it, but like we give a lot of importance to the word. and the preaching and things like that. But like, man, like it's just wonderful to know that not everyone's doing it the same, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay. It's a different movement, and so I think that's powerful. What about you? What impacted you the most?
Well, I think it was the first or second day in out in the outreach that they did in the revival meeting that they did in Arbor Minch. And that revival meeting wasn't in the building; it was outside and on a big field. And before it started, I had like this, a conviction, just a desire to go and just be in the midst of the people. So as everybody was coming in, they're coming down this road and into the field to populate it. I just started walking towards the back, and I left, the team and tent and everything. Just went to the back, just wanted to see what was going on. And I don't remember how it started, but somehow they put me to start praying for a little kid. The little kid couldn't hear. He had it was 90, almost 100% deaf. And he couldn't hear. So, well, I'm here to serve, so I just, hey, okay, we're gonna pray. So I start praying for him, and then all of a sudden, just more and more and more kids start coming, and then all of a sudden I have 50 kids around me.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Literally.
I
really wish I could see this.
Yeah,
They said this guy's Jesus with his long hair.
Yeah,
All the children come to me.
Had 50 kids around me, a couple adults, I guess the family members or whatnot, and just a bunch of people coming around. And it was probably actually more. It could have been close to 100. I don't know, but it was a lot. And they were just all over, and it's it's hot outside. It's dusty because it's not a grassy field; it's dirt. It's just dirt. It's dusty. Everybody's sweaty. Everybody's pushing up on you. And I just felt the need to pray and minister to this child. So I prayed and everything. The way we're taught, the way we're taught to pray, and the way you feel to pray, and the things you're supposed to say and do and whatnot, But there's a moment where you have to start expecting the miracle. And after a few minutes, we're in this culture, in this country, and then we're kind of lazy when it comes to prayer, and we expect things quickly. We have that microwave culture, we just want it now. But things aren't always like that. So basically, I kept praying, and we kept testing, to see if the child had received the miracle. But now we kept believing and just praying. I had some of the locals that were praying, had somebody translating, and he barely spoke English, but he spoke just enough to be able to try to translate.
So you're praying for someone, they don't know what you're saying. And they don't even know if you're praying for their exact.
I had a translator with me.
Blessing me or cursing me?
Yeah,
they're just looking at you every so often.
trying to interpret. But I had a translator with me. I think that person, I don't remember if he was a girl or a guy, I don't even remember at this point, but I think they might have disappeared once or twice, came back, then I had some other random person trying to translate, and just praying, and the kids receiving, and then everybody else wants to get in on it, and everybody's asking for prayer, but you're still trying to pray for this one person, and it's just, everybody's happy, and it was just, it's not that normal experience of what I'm used to. And it took a lot out of me, because I told God, if you put me out here and you gave me the conviction to walk way out here on the other side of the field, in the midst of the people, you had a plan for it. And it's I'm not leaving until I see something, until I see a miracle happen, because these people are expecting. I have the ability to pray for it. I just need God to do something. So I was there probably 45 minutes to an hour, praying for this.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a long
praying
time.
for this
I would have
kid.
given up.
Yeah,
I'd be
and I was tired. I was
It's a process for me.
extremely thirsty.
But I bet for those people, it's it's
nothing.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. I was there and I'm thirsty. I have dust coming in my mouth. People all over me, sweaty. It's hot outside. I've been praying and talking constantly for that long, so I'm running out of a voice. But I just have to keep praying and battling for this kid, because You know, that's what we're there for. We're there to impart. We're there to show the love of God, show the power of God.
Yeah.
So you have to do it. It's like you just feel this conviction to do it. And it was just such an impact on me because I just felt like everything, the whole reason why I had gone on the trip was for that moment.
Wow.
To pray for that little kid to receive a miracle, you know, so that God can be glorified.
Yeah.
You know, they're expecting, some of them come from other towns, from other cities, you know, they come with nothing, expecting something. And it's like that weight of responsibility, like you had said earlier, to be the vessel and be the tool that God, the instrument that God needs to use to reach them. So we prayed and prayed and prayed, and finally, until we started to get the breakthrough, and he started to hear more. We were doing these kind of tests and trying to, you know, we don't want to say, oh yeah, God healed you, but you know, the miracle was never there. You just want it to happen, but it didn't happen. You know, you need to protect the testimony and the ministry of God and make sure that what you're praying for is happening.
Yeah.
You know, and make sure that God did it. It's not just you that trying to look good. You know, I don't care if I don't look good. I don't look good. The miracle didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to manipulate God. But we started doing the test and testing this kid, and little by little, it started getting better. We just kept praying more, and I had other people come, random people, just to come help us. You know, start praying, and it was just such a testimony because at the end he did. Start hearing much better. I mean, like he couldn't hear little things, and we would speak loudly and wouldn't be able to hear. Then he started to hear and hear and hear and hear. Finally got to a point where he was hearing, and he was like, you know, looking around, like, you know, telling I guess his family members, like an aunt or something that was there, and telling her, and then, you know, trying to speak back to us, and it was just very emotional, but it was very like it was a breakthrough, very relieving. And they ended up, you know, taking his testimony later on, and you know, and whatnot up in front. Yeah, they brought him up there and everything, and it was just, you know, like it was just great to know that God had used me as an instrument to do a work and to do something there for the people, you know. And it's something that will impact me for forever. Just their expectancy. They don't go because they have to go, or because somebody told them to go, or because, you know, it's expected of them to go. They go because if they don't go, they have no other choice. They don't have, you know, the money for doctor's expenses and medical bills and all these kind of things. They don't even have the access to it, even if they did. It's very uncommon over there. So just that expectancy, it pushes you to do more and to really count on God, because they're counting on God. You know, so it was.
And people say that a lot of times. A lot of these miracles, these mass miracles, happen in other countries because they know that that's their only resource. Here in the States and in other developed countries, we know that we have doctors to go to. We know that we can call up our doctor or go to the hospital or whatever and get a surgery and just get it done. And so in these countries, they don't have that. So their expectancy is way up here because they're like, well, of course God's going to heal me because that's the only thing I have. And so I feel like that ties into why the praise is so high over there. Absolutely. Because that is their only source of everything.
Absolutely.
And we get so comfortable over here with what we have, right, in our commodities, and we don't realize that they have their revelation of God is way higher than ours. And it's just like we need to go back to that, where God is our everything and we depend on Him completely for everything. And I think it's so beautiful that you guys had those experiences over there. I mean, I had my experiences in India, but it was more of on the worship team. And I wasn't really with the people like I would have loved to be, but hopefully soon that'll be something that I do. But man, I mean, that's awesome. I don't know if I would have lasted 45 minutes, that's for sure.
No.
I would have lost my voice way before that, but man.
It's tough. I mean,
but with the Holy Spirit's there, like pushing you to keep going and keep going. So
I can paint you a big picture. Well, because we did two different events on that trip.
Okay.
So the first one was in Addis, which is the main capital, and that's where Apostle Tamarat's church is. And we did, you know, it was more of like the leaders and like his church and whatnot. We did an event there, But the Miracle Crusade was the second part, and that was in Arbor Minch, which we had to take a flight to get to that location. And that location, everything we had to bring from the States. It's like everything we had to build there. So there was a ginormous expense that went into sound, that went into building a stage, that went into building everything, lights, like, because it was in the literally a middle of nowhere field, and we had to build tents, we had to build like places where we can put the people, and then like also we had different locations in the midst of the crowd, because it was I can't even tell you how many people there was. I mean, I think they counted for close to 1 million people that ended up showing there. And we had to, I forgot the name of it right now, but it's basically separate little locations in between the field. So they had to build all of those little locations, and those little locations were where I was assigned to. So I had to go to all of the ones that were in the front. We had like, I want to say almost 15, close to 15, 16, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And then like the last one was just like way out there, like I'm all out, like out in the trenches. And that's where my assignment was, to be all the way out there. And I think the first day that I got there, I had like a white shirt, and biggest mistake of my life. That shirt came back like
black.
Legit, yeah, definitely.
From this to this.
No, absolutely. So like, I know exactly where he was when he was praying for the kid, because I was there. I had to go to every single one of the locations and then go back again and then just keep going. And I knew where he was. He was towards the back, and it's just insane. Like, they see you and they just see like, okay, this is my opportunity. This is my shot. This is my chance. And even though the church, we did like a medical brigade, and we helped with, some things that we could medically help with, you know what I mean? That they needed help with, or, some of them needed vision tests, this, that. So we did a few things like that over there, outside of just the supernatural.
Yeah.
But, just going to these places, you're in the midst of just a bunch of people. Yeah. Like in the midst of a bunch of people, you can't even remember like where's the stage, unless like you start like looking over and you're like, oh, okay, it's that way. Like it gets to the point where there's just so many people around you, and I'm holding a camera, with one of the helpers that's like helping carry like the mic and this and that, and I'm just like, okay, we're pointing that way, and you're just trying to look over a massive field of people, and everyone there needs something, so it's kind of like you're in that position where you're like, you want to pray for everybody, but like you don't know where to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
that
pretty crazy.
That humbles me, knowing that there's so much need out there. And we're just so comfortable. We're focused on our own lives and our own thing and what we want to accomplish, and it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about what the people need and how to bring people to Jesus. That's the whole purpose of why we're here in this world, Yeah. And sometimes we just like, oh, gotta get home and just watch on Netflix and relax. Oh, I want to relax, but it's like, no. What can you do today?
Yeah.
Even if it's just a prayer, even if it's just a text message, to someone that maybe they needed to hear a hello or a hi that day, and that just humbles me, We don't have a mission trip every day to go to.
Yeah.
If you're blessed to go to one, awesome. We all have gone to mission trips, and that's amazing. But if you don't have the opportunity to go, you don't have a church, then do that. And you have your mission trip. It's just life.
Yeah.
It's just your work, your area where you go every day, your community. And
we don't have a mission trip every day, but we have a mission.
Yeah.
And I think that's way more important to understand, that there is something that you could be doing today, right now. And it's something as small as reaching out to that person feels lonely or sad, or just getting on your knees and saying, God, I want to pray for this person that I know is going through a rough time, or whatever it may be. There is something you can do. Again, you may not be able to go on a mission trip, but you have a mission every day.
Yeah.
So if you keep that mentality, then you're always working towards that. How can I give back today? Because this life in Christ was never to keep to ourselves. It was always to give back. Always. That was the whole point of it. the whole point of receiving Jesus was to give out, right? So we receive Jesus to give back Jesus to people. And so I think that's so important to realize. And this is the epitome of that. These mission trips is the epitome of giving back, because that's the ultimate, right? Not everybody can do it, but that's just like the goal, right? We want to go to places where Jesus has maybe never even been heard, or places where people have no idea things that go on, right, in the supernatural, and people need the love of Jesus. And I think it's so important that we're able to do that. And we've been blessed, and we've been able to do that. And hopefully people listening to us in the near future, after this pandemic, obviously, are able to go out and do that. You don't even have to go overseas. You can do it locally as well. You know, I posted this on my Instagram the other day. When's the last time you stopped someone to tell them about Jesus? And it's as simple as that. You know, it could be a coworker, it could be at the grocery store, it could be a homeless person on the side of the street. It could be anybody. When's the last time you stopped someone and just shared Jesus with them? And it starts there. And we would be remiss to sit here and talk about anything else on this podcast and not talk about the most important thing, which is evangelism, which is telling people about Jesus. And we've had the opportunity to do it overseas, but I think God is calling all of us to do it here where we are now, right? Because if we wait to go overseas, who knows when that can happen, when we get the resources or the money. It may never come, but we can do it here. And so we want to encourage you guys, if you're listening, you know, and you know Jesus, to be the light, be the salt, be that shining light on the hill, so that people can know who you know, right? Share that with other people. It's so important. And I want to thank you guys for coming today.
Appreciate it.
Honestly, this was an amazing talk. Just learning about. I love cultures, and I'm also a food connoisseur, so I love trying different kinds of food. So hearing about that, I would have gone to the tea room. I would have tried the little raw meat. I would have at least taken a little piece of the raw meat. Just to say that I tried it. I don't know, but that's definitely. That's awesome. I mean, I remember when I was in India, nobody liked the food except for me.
That was tough. That trip was tough for me.
But it was funny is Apostle ate the food.
India was tough.
Apostle was probably the only one that ate the food, because I think he did it out of respect. Because I don't think he even liked it, but he did it out of respect because he was served it, so he ate it and he had a smile on his face the whole time. I'm like, Lord, make me like that. But like, I actually enjoyed it. I liked the food, and everyone was like, oh, they're taking out granola bars from their backpacks, and they're like, I'm eating this. And I'm like, no, I'm eating this thing. So, we would love to share some more stories with you guys next time. Hopefully, we can invite you guys back and share some other stuff, because you guys are heavily involved in business, and we want to talk about that too. So.
Yeah, for sure. We would love to come back. Obviously, you guys are family, so we talk all the time, not in front of a mic. but we're very grateful, and we're super happy with what you guys are doing. I'm sure that there's people out there right now that are really needing this. You know, there's people out there that, you know, they're waiting to be invited, like you were saying, to go somewhere, to be able to be in their purpose, you know what I mean, or be where they're supposed to be. I remember at 11 years old, when I gave my life to Jesus, you know, there's a park by my house, it's called Eureka Park, and it's not a very safe park. But I was just so obsessed with, you know, doing the will of God. I didn't need to be in a foreign country. We didn't even do that much at that point. And I'll never forget, you know, I told my brother-in-law, hey, you know, let's go buy some Gatorades, let's put them in this cooler, and let's, you know, stop the basketball game over there. And this was an 11-year-old telling like this grown man, like, you know, but I was just so obsessed with wanting to do what I knew I had to do, you know, and I think that goes before being a business person, before being a missionary, before being a prophet, before being a pastor, before being anything. I mean, it was our original intent, was to love God and be like God. You know, in Eden, there was no need for doctors, pastors, preachers, prophets, anything. It was just to reciprocate the love of God to God. You know, and I think if we just go back to that basic, that's where it's all at. So I won't take up much time, but thank you guys, and we're definitely excited to come back.
Thank you, and thank you for watching us. If you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening to us, don't forget to subscribe or share this episode with somebody else that you know needs to hear this word. And thank you for connecting with us. Where this episode is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor. So thank you again, and see you next time.
Cue the fireworks.
Bye.